Test, test. Are we ready to roll? It's 9:03. What time does it start? 9? All right, Man, this is loud. Holy cow. How do you turn it down? Do you know? Good morning. Can't hear it. Test. That's loud. All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to get started here with Class 1 steer calves. In Class 1, entering the ring is Justin Dye, Lane Hess, Justin Jones. Are we doing heifers first? Okay, that's down the list. We're going to do heifers first. Entering the ring is Mackenzie Porter, Ashlyn Neeb, Virginia Wing, Isabel Gillard, and Madison McKee, Class 1. I'd like to introduce our judge today, Mr. Kirk Steerwalt from Leedy, Oklahoma. Kirk and his family own and operate Steerwalt cattle and clinics established in 1987. They have exhibited and sold numerous champions across the U.S. and Canada. Their cow herd concentrates on club, calf steers, and heifers, but also focuses on other specific breeds, as in Hereford, Maines, Charolais, and Simmentals. Kirk has been conducting nationwide and international show cattle clinics for 32 years. Kirk's advice is dream big, work hard, be consistent, and show up. Kirk and his family reside in Leedy, Oklahoma. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Kirk Stierwalt here this morning evaluating our show for us. Just a reminder here this morning, the young people that bought these cattle in the sale are the ones that are supposed to be showing them this morning, not the person that sold them. So just keep that in mind when we go into the next classes. These calves are to be shown by the kids that bought them in the sale, not the people that they were bought from. Thank you.
All right. Hey, welcome everybody. It's an honor to come up here and be affiliated with the NILE show. I just love coming here. When I get the chance, and I've been up here the last few years, and to me this is a special show. It's got special people running it. They're trying to make things better, and when we get into the club calf or the feeder calf sale, I guess if you will, it's something that. I'm excited for these breeders. I'm excited for the young people buying them. And I think when we look at the quality and the evenness in these cattle, I think it's important. And it's just like in this particular class. We have a class of 5. I mean, all the way down here. There's quality all the way down to the end. So I don't want anybody to feel like when they go home and be like, well, you know what? I didn't do quite as good, and I just bought the calf yesterday. Well, that ain't the game, all right? That's not the game at all. The deal is to take these things home and go to work. And you know what? They all have their day. And like I said, I don't know how they did on Monday or whenever it was, and it doesn't even really it doesn't matter to me at all. Today's the day, and the thing about it is we can show these things in tomorrow or next week or whatever. And you know what? I'm not loyal. I'm just saying is I think cattle have their day, and I think they all have their time. And you know what? And that's a good thing. That's a good thing because there's going to be cattle that are going to be ready earlier, and there's cattle that are going to be ready later. I know just on the Western Ranch show, the market steer that won this thing, eventually here the other day. I mean, I seen that steer in the summer, and he was pretty hard and pretty lean at that point. It wasn't his day that day. You know what? But they went home and did their homework and got put some feed in him and got him right, and son of a gun, if you don't win the show. So that's what it's about. I mean, it's the game and that's the part that I like. And so to me, but I think when you look at the show, and I'm not here to get on here and go to yakking, but I'm just saying is I think it's awesome that the show provides a futurity show back. Jay and like I said, Shelby and Jennifer and everybody that's hooked up with this thing and trying to make this thing better, and trying to bring the most highest quality you can for these kids to be able to come here and get a project, be able to have some opportunity and some options to show them. And then you buy a calf that's actually, you're going to get 2 shows under them. There's things that you can't do at home that you can replicate at a show. And so to me, when you go home here, these calves are off to a great start. One thing I would urge is, these cattle have had a lot of things happen to them, in the last few weeks as far as travel and showing and all that. Keep an eye on them, you know what I mean, just for temperatures and sickness and stress and things like that, because we got to keep moving forward. So anyway, enough of that. So before we get started, I want to thank the show, the committee, everybody affiliated with the futurity show back and trying to make this thing better. I think we owe them people a big round of applause right off the start here. So to me, it's great. And as we get into this heifer show, and I think starting off here, these heifers here on top here, and I think as we come down there, they're different style, and they're different kind, and it kind of gets into their muscle pattern. I think all of them are pretty good on their soundness and their feet and leg. Some of them are a little bit fatter, and some of them a little bit more leaner in their kind. I think we look at the heifer there that starts here. I feel like she's the most... when you look at the combination of condition and actually having that extra swoop to that rib cage, being a little bit more softer made in her kind, and she's one that is really nicely put together. I think she's she's got some muscle and some shape to her. I feel like it's a longer muscle. I think she's pretty good when you get her out here and travel, eye appealing in her to me overall profile. I think one that keeps getting better as she goes on. I really like the heifer here in second. She's one that's super level hipped. She's green and she's harder. I mean, I'd say just kind of a little bit more firm in her look, but man, you love her extension. I love her up out of her top line. I mean, that heifer there, I'm just telling you, is green and she's raw today, but her hip is right, her muscle length right. She's got good bones. She's one that everybody feed. That one gets better in my mind. I think that one here, you give that one a month or 60 days here, and I think, man, you know what? So go home and take care of business is your homework. I feel like we're just a little bit farther along and a little bit more in shape on the heifer that let out there ahead here. We get into the next 3, and I think the black heifer for me, we start getting into to heifers that are good. She's extremely nice up out of her front, great up over her top, has that extra rib shape and underline that you like. She's one that ties in good into her shoulders. I think she's one that, as you look at her muscle shape, I think she's on the bubble of being either, breeding heifer, market heifer, possibly. Not sure if that's available in your area, but to me, I think that goes from here forward on how do we handle them heifers. What do we do? I mean, I think we can do that from a management standpoint. Today, she's just a little bit more. There's just a little bit more roundness to her. To me, muscle shape. She's probably just a little bit more leaning towards that kind. And I think that's what we get into here. I like the red heifer. I think she's good up over her top. She's got some muscle and power to her. To me, she's well presented. I think there's some underline to her. She's one that comes together from front to back with a lot of balance. I think she's there again. Another one that is more. Has some more definition of muscle. And I just think on her, I mean, me personally, when I look at her, I think we got to be careful on how we feed that one. If we go home and we just like throw all the coals to her, I think I read her like she possibly could tighten up a bit. And so to me, I think, for me in my mind, on a management standpoint, we got to keep her growing and keep her coming, but not overdo it. And I think that heifer makes a nice heifer down the road. I like the gray heifer here. Like I said, strong class. You know what? 5 head. But, hey, there's nothing anybody needs to feel bad about here because that's a good heifer. She's just a little bit lighter bone compared to them cattle up above. There again, it's got tons of shape to her. It's just a little bit more, like I said, terminal in that kind. But there again, I love her out of her neckline. She's nice up out of her top, good looking. I mean, that's just a nice heifer here, starting off the heifer show here. So once again, kids, good luck. You got great stuff here. Like I said, that's just what I'm going after today. Let's give them a big round of applause. Like I said, nice job out here.
Thank you, Kirk. Results in class number 1. In first place is Virginia Wing from Casper, Wyoming. Second place, Mackenzie Porter from Harrisonville, Missouri. Third place, Madison McKee, Cottonwood, California. Fourth, Isabel Gillard, Stevensville, Montana. And in fifth place, Ashlyn Neeb, Florence, Montana. We'll now have class 2 of our heifers entering the ring at this time. We have Travis Moniz, Tanner Vanek, Harley Gillard, Reagan Nansel, and Miranda Johnson, class 2. We would like to welcome you to the 52nd Annual NILE Stock Show, and we welcome you to the Pine Coulee Bulls Sale Ring. Today's show is sponsored by your Montana Ford store. Ford has been the best-selling truck for 42 years in a row, and they're just getting started. It's time for you to check out the Ford F-Series. They out-tow, outload, and outdrive the competition, and they've got years to go. See your local Montana Ford store today. It is Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer. The best-selling trucks in America are on sale with cash back to use for your down payment and lease payment starting under $300. Head off high prices on your next ride and see your local Ford dealer for details. Okay, I've been informed that we will need the top 3 heifers from Class 1 back to the show arena for our champion and reserve champion female. The top 3 from Class 1, that would be Virginia Wing, Mackenzie Porter, and Madison McKee.
Another nice class, and I think there's a lot of good all the way down. It's one of them that I think there's some trade-off here, and we've seen just 10 heifers here, and like I said, the quality's good, and I think there's a great future for these to me exhibitors here, just because I think there's cattle that I think will show. Then there's cattle that, I think all these are capable of going home and getting in production and doing something down the road. And you know what? We look at the show life, and then we look at the cow life, and you know what? That's a long-term, to me, investment. But I tell you what, to me, these kids are off to the right start. I think when you look at this red heifer here, she's a combination heifer. She's one that's super level in her hip. She's one that's got some shape. I like it that her muscle pattern is longer. To me, I love the way she comes down in her leg design. She's one that's soft in her middle. She's one that ties in good into her forerib. She's one that's got a really nice look to her. She's one there, again, the special thing about her is I love the way her hind leg design is and her angle that she comes down to the ground. She gets out here and handles the ground awfully well, and she's one that's got some thickness. And when it comes to these heifers, I'll be honest with you, we have done a good job of pulling them apart. We've done a good job of putting some rib shape in these things as breeding, and to me, and trying to make these animals the way we want them. Then I think, a lot of times, we did all that. I think, we kind of went through a stage there where we flattened these cattle up plenty. Kind of got behind them, wasn't much there to do that. But to me, I think now it's time if we can insert the right kind of muscle shape. This is my opinion. I think she has it. Like I said, I love her squareness and I love the length of it. To me, I think that's where I'm headed. So to me, I like cattle with some shape in them. I do. So, but it's got to be the right shape, and I got to have them good in the ground up. And I like cattle that look good. So anyway, we come in here next, and I'm going to say the horse race for me here was second and third. I've just felt like this red heifer, there's some things I like about her. She doesn't tie together as good. She's one that you get her stopped. You love her underline, plenty of swoop to that rib cage. She's one that, when you look at her, she's one that's extended. I see this heifer, I look at her from a growth pattern standpoint, I see her going ahead and making a bigger kind of heifer. She's one that she gets opened up right in there behind her shoulders. She's one that at times she kind of breaks apart into, gets a little more piecier than the one that let out. But I think that we can help that with some condition and some time. And to me, like I said, she's one that's extended. She's one that's sound on her feet and legs. And I think that's where she comes in second. I also feel like she gets out here and strides out good, reaches good. To me, she's good from the ground up. So to me, a nice heifer coming in there second. Just doesn't balance quite as good as our class winner out there coming out here today. Good job. Our third place heifer, very attractive. She's one that's feminine. She's angular, really well made. She's nicely presented out here. She's one that's probably not as heavy made in her bone. I'm going to say this, and she's one that as you get her out here and travel, she can get a little steep. You can see her kind of come up in her ankles. It's not every step. It's not. But every now and then, you'll see her get strong on them. You'll see her come in steep. And I'm just going to say here, that heifer's cool. She's good looking. But I'm just saying is don't go home and trim her feet off. The first thing you're going to do is let her get some foot size to her. Let's keep her good from a base standpoint from the ground up. I think that's our, to me, I think you can make or break that heifer because we just got to keep her soft on her legs. And to me, I think that gets into your management. And that's just my opinion. So I'm not telling you what to do by any means. This heifer here is one that, from a breeding piece, she's upstanding. She's she's one that's flat in her muscle shape and her design. She gets a little bit off in her hip around her tail head, but I love her length out of her neckline. I love her to me added rib shape. She's one that's a little bit to me at this point a little bit kind of in a growth stage to me. So I think me personally, take her home and go ahead and feed her because I think she can handle it. I think it'll help her. But she's one that's awfully good and very maternal in her look. And like I said, you can move her. Like I said, you can move these all the way around in these classes. And like I said, I like her kind because she's just good. So to me, I just think she's just a little bit more to me, a little bit more harder in her appearance look to me today. But that's a good heifer to me coming in here next. The heifer that comes in here next, she's soft. She's got tons of rib shape. She's probably not as big boned as the cattle that left out ahead of her. She's one that I look at her, and you know, I think she'll, you know, she's one that's probably, you know, she's got markings, you know, that you'll always spot her. But her rib shape is what is her big bonus. I mean, there's some shape to her from a muscle standpoint. I think it's got some length to it. You know, she can get, you know, where I think when you look at her, and I guess what I see for her down the road is I see cow ability. You know what I mean? I think that one makes a good cow. I think you get a lot of different breeding decisions as time goes on. I think she's going to make a good show heifer, but I really think her strong point is you get her in production. Then I think, man, then the fun begins for me. But you're going to have a fun year already, and what I'm saying is I think she ties in good with that later on too. So nice set of cattle. Like I said, great set of kids, and I'm just saying that they're off to a great start. Let's give them a round of applause as well.
Thank you, Kirk. Results of class number 2. In first place is Harley Gillard, Stevensville, Montana. Second place, Reagan Nansel, Billings, Montana. Third place, Tanner Vanek, Lewistown, Montana. Fourth place, Miranda Johnson, Huntley, Montana. And in fifth place, Travis Moniz from Princeton, California. We will now have the top 3 from class 1 and class 2 entering the show ring at this time. Those individuals are Virginia Wing, Mackenzie Porter, Madison McKee, Harley Gillard, Reagan Nansel, and Tanner Vanek.
as we select your top five, and I think we come back awfully strong. I think there's some different types and kind out here. I think it gets down, and there's some trade-offs. I don't think when you look at these cattle, with the different stages that they're in and the different types that we have here. There's not one, there's not one that's a dominating to me heifer in one respect, because I'm saying that there's a lot of good all the way down here. So I don't take that wrong. I'm just saying that means we're even. That's a good thing. So to me, but we're even in different kinds of ways. I think what one's asset is, or what one's strong point is, we might see that, in trying to find the combination heifer. I guess that's where I'm headed. It's one of them things that, like I said, I appreciate being able, and I've took some time. Look, it's like one of these things. These kids deserve, everybody's going home with them, and you know what, I'm going to Kansas City Royal tonight, and it's one of them things that, I want to spend some time with them. I think they spend an extra day here, and the cattle just deserve another look. So to me, it's been fun, and like I said, we're gonna get on with it. I appreciate, like I said, the show, being able to provide this show. I think it's awesome that they do the show backs and the maturities. I think it's awesome that you can actually get another show on them while you're at the show. And I just think, when you buy a calf and they've already had 2 times in the ring already, that's awesome. So to me, that's a great advantage for you young people here today. So to me, we started out with that heifer here in that Class 1, and she's one that's very unique, because she's neatly marked. I think she's feminine and angular, and I think she's by no means to me extra condition. I think she's barely there. I think the hair helps her. I think but I think there's some good things to her, just because you love her femininity, and she's so smooth in her joints and smooth in her look, and she is one that I think goes ahead and makes, like I said, another bite of feed. I think she gets better as time goes on. So I just think that's a great starting project with a lot of look. Young lady does a great job with her out here as well. I really like the roan heifer here that was second there, and that one there. There's times that if you get a belly, a little more underline in her, and you get a little bit more condition on her. The bones there, the squareness of hip there's the length of muscles there. There's a lot of good pieces here to work with, and I just saying as time goes on, that heifer to me becomes can become a threat. Just with the right kind of management. So I encourage all these young people to go home and take care of business. That's important. It's not how much you're doing right before the show. It's a little bit you're going to be doing all the time. So to me, management is huge. So we come out of that third, and to me, that black heifer, and like I said, I like her. She blends together good. She's one that's she creates some unity. She's a combo heifer. She sits on the bubble. Can she run as a breeding heifer, or can she run as a market heifer? I think that depends on how you manage her. I think that's how you clip her and you fit her. I think all that comes with management and what you do to her. But she's good either way. I think she can go either way in my mind. And so to me, awfully good there in that particular class. The red heifer that won the last class, she's one that she's in good shape. You love her from a condition standpoint. She's one that when you look at her angle and the way she comes down on her leg, you study these calves on here, and if they take a bad step here and every now and then, heck, I do too. So it's one of them things that they're all to me fairly really good and sound. But that calf there, you figure the stress that's going on with these cattle and being able to walk, all these, that's good on all these cattle. I think that red steer, red heifer, the way she comes down the ground is pretty good. It's like really good. I love her angle that she comes there. I love her underline. She's soft in her middle. Is she as neat and cool out of her front end as I prefer? No, I'd like to sharpen her a little bit in that respect. And so, but to me, there's some width there, there's some power, but you look at the muscle shape she has in it. It's wide up high, but it's not round. It's fairly flat for as much width as she has, and it ties in deep to her hock. So to me, like I said, she's one that also can be managed either way as well. We come in that second class, and that heifer is an upstanding kind of female. She comes apart just a little bit. You get her set right. She creates a great profile. Got plenty of underline. Young lady does a nice job with her out here. She's just one that I think she's a little bit more, you know, one that we just got to soften up as we go here. But she's got natural underlying, really, you know, contours well underneath there, ties it back into that flank awfully nice. So to me, you know, she's one that, you know, like I said, I think as time goes on, she gets better as well. We talked about the black heifer. I mean, that one there is pretty as a picture. I mean, she is awesome haired. I mean, she's got a beautiful look to her. She's a little more refined in her build. Like I said, she's a little bit more smaller footed, smaller bait. Every now and then I catch her steep, and I'm just saying we got to be careful, and we got to make sure that we keep some feet in these cattle, keep some base on the ground. So to me, it's a good set of cattle. I mean, these cattle have got a lot of future to them. Once again, I'm going to go out here and pick what I like today. And you know what? You can show these here in a month, and I guarantee it'd be different. So to me, young people, don't get discouraged. I'm telling you what, stay positive. Keep working hard. I'm telling you, that's going to be the separation from you and the other people out there. So you've got to be committed. You got to jump in. And, I mean, you got to do what you can. And I'm just saying it. And to me, you got to try. I'm telling you what, I love a kid that's got all the try in him. And to me, and then you got family backing. You know what, that's the most impressive thing ever. So to me, great memories. Like I said, thank the show. Like I said, once again, I'm going to go out here and get your top 5. I want to give a big round of applause for the young people, like I said, and the staff, the committee, the show, everything. Thank you very much, all right?
Thank you, Kurt. Results of our female show this morning. Your grand champion heifer goes to Harley Gillard, Stevensville, Montana. Reserve champion is Virginia Wing, Casper, Wyoming. In third place, Mackenzie Porter, Harrisonville, Missouri. Fourth place, Reagan Nansel, Billings, Montana. And in fifth place, Tanner Vanek from Lewistown, Montana. We're going to take pictures with the heifers here in between the steer shows, so you steer kids, give us a few minutes. We're going to get a few photos snapped, and then we'll be back in business here in the main ring. I'd like to also talk about some other sponsors this morning while I've got a minute here. Talk about Show Right Feeds. They provide every buyer at the Club Calf sale with one bag of Show Right Feed, thanks to Kurt Bacon and Dick Weschenfelder of Hubbard Feeds. Supporting sponsors of the NILE Stock Show this year includes Agra Best Feeds. They're a proud sponsor of the NILE Show. Looking for the best supplement for your cattle? Look no further than Agra Best Feeds Sweet Pro. Select Sires, offering an expanded sire lineup that includes more elite bulls from respected programs. Select Sires, Calving Ease, Carcass, Cows. Stop by and see Jay Nansel at their booth in the trade show. Pine Coulee Bulls. They're having their bull sale March 9th, 2020 at the Wagon Box Ranch in Hardin, Montana. This year selling 170 yearling bulls. The Northern Ag Network. They've been in business for over 40 years, and they are your trusted voice in agriculture news, markets, and ag information. Western Ag Reporter, serving the ag industry since 1940. They're proud to be instrumental in starting the NILE, with founder Pat Goggins holding the #1 charter. Stop by their booth up in the exhibit hall and sign up for your subscription. Multimin USA is a proud sponsor of the NILE. Multimin 90 is an injectable, fast-acting supplemental source of the trace minerals copper, zinc, manganese, and selenium for beef cattle to optimize immunity, vaccine response, and reproduction. We also want to thank Tri-State Livestock News and Farmer Rancher Exchange. They're a proven partner serving ranching and farming communities for 5 decades, from Montana to Kansas, Colorado to Minnesota. Western Ranch Supply, serving the big country with the quality and service you can trust. Stop into their new store located off the Shiloh exit on the west end of Billings. They're a complete farm and ranch store, from vet supplies to show supplies, fencing to livestock equipment, saddles, tack, and a large clothing department. We'd also like to thank First Interstate Bank, proud sponsor of the NILE Stock Show and Rodeo, serving communities throughout Montana, Wyoming, and western South Dakota. Rocky Mountain Compost is a local company right here in Billings. They custom haul sawdust for animal bedding and haul off manure and other barn waste. They accept clean yard trimmings from lawn maintenance, business tree trimmers, and individuals. We'd also like to thank Yellowstone Valley Electric Co-op. They're proud to support the NILE Stock Show and Rodeo. They serve over 20,000 meters from Custer to Park City and beyond. Yellowstone Valley Electric Co-op continues to be one of the largest and fastest growing cooperatives in Montana. We'd also like to thank the Northern Hotel, proud sponsor again of the NILE Rodeo and Stock Show. Stay at the Northern after taking a day in at the NILE. Meet up with friends in the Tin Lounge and try their elk nachos or a tin burger with your favorite craft brew. Jake's Downtown, proud sponsor of the NILE, invites you to join them in celebrating their 40th year of award-winning steaks and service, located in the historic Grand Building in downtown Billings. Class 1 steer calves, please start making your way to the arena, please. In Class 1, we'll have Justin Dye, Lane Hess, Justin Jones, Justin Dye, Lane Tellefson, Jordan Rehnquist, and Hadley Cooper, class number 1. Class 1 steer calves entering the rings: Justin Dye, Lane Hess, Justin Jones, Justin Dye, Lane Tillefson, Jordan Renquist, and Hadley Cooper. Class number 1. Class number 2, if you'd start lining up over here by the entry gate into the show ring: Helena Fowler, Riley Jones, Chael Roberts, Tyson Mahan, Grace Gunlock, and Mesa Svenberg.
as we start your steer show, and once again, like there's not a bad steer in here. You know what, kids? Tell you what, like I said, stay positive here because this is just today, and that's why I'm actually what I'm going to do. What I did here. I mean, you know, when I look at this top pair. There's things that I like about the second place steer that I do this steer, but when I look at this steer, I just feel like he carries the most rib shape and body. I think he's most complete from front to back. There's some muscle shape to him. There's some power to him. To me, he carries that. He's really sound and functional on his feet and legs. I think we got enough angle here. You know, he can get a little bit like low-headed, you know what I mean? And so you're going to need to make sure you like show that out of him, all right? So I'm just saying it, and he gets a little bolder up in here, but you know, he's one that, you know, like I said, today, you know, I mean, like I said, I'm not wanting to get the crystal ball out, but I'm going to say this, you know, for today, I just feel like he's probably a little bit more farther along in maturity and softer and more middle to him, and just probably, when you get off to the front three-quarter, he just carries that back into his flank a lot better. To me, that's the deal that seals the deal today. If we're going to get the crystal ball out, I like the one in second. I'm just telling you what, young man, go home, take that calf and feed him. I think that is one that is exceptional in his kind and in his look. He's more my kind. I'll be straight up front. I mean, I want to use that calf, but he's a little bit trimmed, shallow-bellied, a little bit more, I'd just say harder and just a little bit more trim. And to me, you know, I love that neckline. I mean, you know what, if you're sat here in this, looking at the outside and saying, well, I think I might like him from the side view better than the first one. Well, I do too, all right? I mean, I'm not lying. I do. It's just, you know what? Give it to the ones that's probably a little bit farther along. I'm just saying this, so I'm just telling you, you go home, you take care of that calf, and you feed him. That's, I mean, you promised me you're going to do that, all right? Because, I mean, that one gets better. I'm telling you what, that one there, in some time, somewhere, can go hunt. I'm just telling you that, and I'm just saying I like that calf. I'm just going just a little more shallow today. I mean, I'm going to call it like it is, and that's what I'm saying. So please take him home and give him a good home, all right? The third place steer, I like him. He's good in his lines. He's one that is so, he's just smooth. I mean, that calf is very angular, and he ties together, and he's youthful looking, and he's one that's got a beautiful red color to him. He's a little bit more flatter and just a little bit more, like I said, not as bold and as you know, massive in his overall muscular build compared to the two out ahead of him. But I like his kind. He patterns well. I think that steer, you know what, you got to feed him, give him a good home, take care of business. Now, you know what, that steer's always going to look good from the profile standpoint. You know what, there might be calves stouter than him, but that, to me, it's the package deal that makes that calf good. So, to me, nice steer. Now, the steer, we're going to go on sheer muscle steer next steer. I mean, you know what, he is muscular. You know, he's got rib shape. He's, you know, he's good in his neckline. He's a little bit, you know, you'll catch him, and he gets a little bit more harder in his look, and he gets opened up behind his shoulder, and you'll catch him where, to me, he breaks off into his loin edge. He don't tie in good right into that top, and he needs more corn. He needs more feed. He just needs more condition. He needs to soften up. So, to me, there's pieces there to work with. I like that steer. He just needs, he's just not as soft as I'd like to have him out here today. So, to me, but a good kind. Like I said, those are 4 good steers. You could jockey them things around. I wouldn't argue with you a bit. Like I said, best thing is go home, work on them, and we'll see what happens in the end. That's what we're after, okay? Let's give our exhibitors a round of applause. Nice job.
Thank you, Kirk. Results in class number 1. In first place is Hadley Cooper. Second, Justin Jones. Third, Lane Hess. And in fourth place, Jordan Renquist. We now have class 2 entering the show ring at this time. Helena Fowler, Riley Jones, Chael Roberts, Tyson Mahan, Grace Gunlock, and Masis Fedberg. I'd also like to mention that Legacy Livestock Imaging from Topeka, Kansas are the exclusive photographer for the 2019 NILE Stock Show. All champion and reserve breed champions need to have their backdrop photos taken. Everyone is welcome to have their photos taken at the backdrop. All photos, ring, and backdrop will be available to view in the northeast corner of the Expo Center. We'd also like to remind you, champions, if you're a reserve champion winner, please remember to visit the Livestock Info booth in the Expo to order your champion jackets, sponsored by Cinch. If you are a grand champion and are wearing Cinch or Cruel apparel, please make sure to come to the NILE Livestock office to claim your Cinch to Win prize. Class 3, if you'd start lining up over here at the entry gate to the show ring. We have Brighton Lane, Jordan Renquist, Katie Hess, Jonna McCullough, Reagan Nansel, and Justin Dye.
I think in this second class, and I think there's some differences here. It's these things are not easy to look at when they're showing, and you know what, they're just calves. I try to, like I said, we got some potential all the way down the line here. I think that when we get up here on this end, I think the young man steer, he's one that's got really a really neat ring presence to him. He's one that. He's got enough shape to him, well presented. He's really big in his top. I think one that's flat back, big up high, but I think he tapers and comes in and he gets pretty angular off through his front end, really nice up out of his neckline. He's good enough to me in his track. Like I said, I wouldn't want him any steeper, but I mean, he's good enough. He ain't doing nothing wrong. Everything's cool. I'm just saying this, but like I said, from a management standpoint, in my mind, we got to keep him set down, and keep him reaching out with them. But I mean, he's one that, like I said, that's his, to me, strong point. He's got some eye appeal, he's got some width, and to me, he's got some underline and some shape to him. Like I said, we got to keep him moving. So anyway, and that's our homework. I really like this steer. In second, we got one that we can't get to move, right? But anyway, so he is a pretty awesome little calf. I just think, he's good, he's soft, he's going to be beautiful haired. I mean, he's big haired, man. I love his color. I mean, that dude right there is black. Now, I mean, I'm telling you what, he is black. I mean, you know what? You're getting a workout. But anyway, he's one that's a little bit shorter in his hip. He's probably not as big up in his pin width up high, but man, he's sound and functional on his leg. He can get a little bit more, little excess skin up here through the front end, but that calf, I look at him as a good feeder. I think that calf's going to be a good calf. Like I said, you got a nice one there, honey. So I tell you what, that calf's young, and he's got a great future to him, and there's some things, man, softness and big-haired, and one that you just I'd never get tired of going out in the barn and working on him. I'm just telling you that. This steer here is very impressive in his skeletal design. I mean, he's one that reaches out here and grabs the ground, fills his track. I mean, he's one that he's got body length. I foresee that steer, he can go ahead and make a 13 to 1,400 pounder. I mean, because we got the length to work with. Super nice up out of his neck. He's not as powerful as the cattle today. He's a little bit more leaner in his kind, but one that you could look at him and say he's just not as heavy built. But to me, that calf's sound. You know what? And you're going to be able to go home and take him and feed him and make him better because he's got the groundwork to do it. He's got the skeletal design to do it. He's got the length to be able to maintain. And I'm just telling you what, he's got a cool look out of his front. Like I said, we just got to soften him up and kind of get him, just a little bit more, more boldness to him. And I mean, you got a good calf there. So feed him, all right? So anyway, we come in here, and I'm just saying is, actually switched them to there, Jay. But anyway, I'm just saying I'm sorry. But anyway, I kind of switched here a little bit. Me personally, I'd like to take them two and throw them together. I mean, I would. This one here is neat in his neck, but he comes apart behind his shoulder. He's a little bit raw behind. He's just raw. He's skinny. I mean, but he's big. He's naturally big topped. He's got a good width up high. I mean, he's got some belly to him and whatnot. He just comes apart in there behind his shoulder blade. I think that comes along with fat. So to me, you can feed him. Man, he comes so cool up out of his neckline. That calf just like is awesome. He's youthful and he's neat out of his front end and sound on his feet and legs. And I think that's the deal, that when we got him out here in travel, I just felt like he came out here with more reach and he just looks better on the move. And I switched them and really it came down to walking. And that's kind of what we got into that next year. So take him home and feed him. All right. So I mean, all you got to do is do that. And I think you got a lot of stuff there to work with that's good. I think he's an eye catcher in the ring. We just got to get him softened up. This steer here is a brick. He's just a stout dude. I mean, he is stout from the front, from his nose to his toes. He's big back. He can get a little bit steep in his angle as you make him walk here. I think that, is one that, like I said, from a management and a gain standpoint, I think we got to ease him along here to maintain that skeletal design. But boy, bold rib, big all the way front. I mean, that dude right there contains tons of carcass merit. He does. I mean, you know what? There's some. I look at him in the end of being high cutability, carcass merit. I mean, just feed him. So to me, but I think we got to control his gain a little bit to make sure our skeletal design stays intact. So anyway, good luck. Like I said, let's give our exhibitors a round of applause. Once again, a great start for these young people. To me, I'm excited for them.
Thank you, Kirk. Results in class number 2. In first place, Chael Roberts from Absaroka, Montana. Second, Helena Fowler, Lewistown, Montana. Third place, Grace Gunlock, Miles City, Montana. Fourth place, Riley Jones, Miles City, Montana. And in fifth place, Mesa Svedberg, Hardin, Montana. Class 3 is entering the show ring at this time. We have Brighton Lane, Jordan Renquist, Katie Hess, Jonna McCullough, and Reagan Nansel. It's just been brought to my attention that out of class number 1 and 2 in the steers, we will bring back the top 2 in class. So from class number 1, we'll need Hadley Cooper and Justin Jones. Class 2 will need Chael Roberts and Helena Fowler back to the show ring for the selection of our champion steer.
I think really a nice class here, and I think there's good all the way down here, and I think there's like I said, you could jockey these around. Wouldn't argue a bit. I think like I said, there's some differences and there's some trade-offs, and I think there's cattle that are today, and I think cattle that are down the road, and I just kind of feel like our steer leading out here in front is probably the most uniform in his build. I think he ties together into that forerib probably. He's one that can be just a shot shallow, but I feel like he probably carries that whole fullness all the way up into his shoulder. I think he carries it up high up into his top line. I think he's one that's level out through his hip. I think he's one, when you look at him get out here and reach, I think when you talk about his angle, I think it's adequate and good enough. I would not want him any more steeper, but I mean that calf's got a showy look to him. He's one that's very, like I said, ring presence. His design's good. Young lady does a nice job with him, and he just seems like he's one that comes together with the most unity and balance, and combining that with some look. I think that steer in second. There's pieces here. He's big-legged. He's one that's got some hip up high, extremely extended up out of his front end. I think he's got some natural middle to him. He gets a little bit pulled apart in there right behind his shoulder blades. He just gets a little bit tighter up high all the way through. I think, but he's neat out of his front end. Young lady does a beautiful job of showing. He's one that, I think fat helps him. I think time helps him right up into that forerib, and I think hair helps him, you know what I mean? So I think all that with a maturity standpoint, great start. It's just a good steer there to me also coming in second. The third place steer to me is very genuine in his kind. He's got some middle to him. I think he's got a cool look to him. He's one that to me, he gets a little bit narrow tracking at times, but he's thicker than the way he walks when you look at him behind. He's kind of deceiving, but he's a nice pattern steer. That's a good steer. You can't pick a big hole in him. To me, he's pretty, like I said, pretty honest, pretty genuine, pretty good. That's a nice steer. Like I said, he just a little bit narrow track and walking away. Probably the perfect back leg. For you people, for me, and just what I'm talking about is this next one coming in here. If you want to study a back leg that is perfect to the ground, sets down with the angle, comes out here and grabs that ground every time. One that comes with some reach. That leg right there is what I look for all day long. I love that leg like that. That one there makes winners. And I'm just telling you that steer, he runs downhill, he's pulled apart, he's kind of green. I'm just saying that if I'm picking a sleeper, it's going to be that one right there, so don't take home and just poop him off. I'm just telling you what, you got a good one there. I'm telling you what, he just needs a little bit more time. So to me, coming here, like I said, very honest and very authentic kind of a steer. He's big back, like I said, stout made, and he's one that's just super, good middle in his softness. I think he's mellow in his look. He gets a little bit steeper in his walk. Hasn't doing anything terrible, but there again, don't saw his feet off. Don't, telling you what, keep some foot on him. Let him grow out. Let's get some foot on the ground. And like I said, that's a good kind of steer as well. Let's give our exhibitors a nice round of applause once again. Nice class.
Thank you, Kirk. Results in class number 3. In first place, Jonna McCullough. Second, Brighton Lane. Third, Reagan Nansel. Fourth, Jordan Renquist. And in fifth place, Katie Hess. We will now have the top 2 steers from each class back for the championship out of class number 1, Hadley Cooper and Justin Jones. Class number 2, Cheo Roberts and Helena Fowler. And in the last class, Jonna McCullough and Brighton Lane.
as we bring them back in, and I think, there's 6 cattle out here that are off the good, a great start. It's one of them things that, when we look at these, and, there's some differences, and like I said, I think it comes down to a pair here for me, and what I'm thinking, there's some trade-off between them, and I think there's some cattle on down the road. There's that's the neat thing about this is I think all these have their day, and I think there's some changes in each one of them, and I think it's one of them things that, they all have a crystal ball, to be honest with you, and to me, it's how we manage and take care of them from here forward. To me, the good homes prevail. I mean, it. Really, it isn't about the clipping and fitting. I mean, to me, in my mind, it's about the caretaking, the daily care, the management, and the nutrition. Those 3 things all have to happen before you even turn on a set of clippers, and it's just hard to win with a skinny calf and a nice haircut. So I'm just telling you, that's where that ain't going to work. So I'm just telling you, so you got to get these things in shape. I mean, it's the closest thing to legalized gambling I know of, but it's the most frustrating, rewarding thing that I know there is. You know what? I've rode the wave. We still ride the wave as a family. It's the most awesome thing that you can raise kids in, and to me, it's good for the kids. It's good for the family. They say the average age of today's 4-H or an FFA kid is like 38 years old, right? So that's a mom and dad. That's just a bad joke there. But anyway, Shane, look at you. I mean, you know what I mean? So what the heck? So I'm just saying that's a good thing. You know what I mean? We say that, but that's an awesome thing because kids that have family, grandpa, grandma, and I'm just saying is trying to manage these things and to me trying to make them better. You can't buy a champion. You have to literally manage it and make it. I mean, and so to me, that's the game. That's what I want you all to do. Don't get frustrated. I don't care where you go. You might go somewhere other show on down the road, and you know what? I remember a kid that we sold a calf to, and he was all pumped up about this calf, and first jackpot show we go to, well, he stands 5th out of 5, and you know what, but now let me tell you, it was about like a deal like here, 5, 6 good ones in that class. It really wasn't the bottom, but you know what, he kind of feeling bad because he didn't do as good as he'd hoped. Time goes on, and I'm just saying is, and that steer ends up winning the Colorado State Fair and ended up bringing about $30,000. And I asked him that day, you feel pretty bad about that 5th place steer that you had that first jackpot show? He says, not in a second, not in 1 second. I ain't even worried about that no more. So to me, it can happen. It's gonna happen to y'all. And I'm just telling you, you know what? If I come back here next year or wherever, and I'm just saying the steers and heifers, and you'll be like, you know what? That heifer was 4th, or that steer was 3rd, and you know what? And it won the show day. I'm like, congratulations, good for you, because that's what it's about, staying focused on the end. So to me, I'm going to go out here and pick 1 through 5. We started off here, like I said, that steer here, in that class. I kind of went to more chunky, chubby. I mean, we could have went, like I said, this and here's more my kind's cool made. He doesn't have enough body to him, but like here's, we got bulk, we got power. To me, he's a little bit farther along in his day. He kind of one of them that, he's one that we keep growing, but man, he's got big hair, big leg. I mean, he just got one that's got some middle to him, some substance to him, and I think he's just a good, solid steer. I do. I think that one's exceptional in his how he comes here. This steer here, you know what? Some cattle just have a look. They do. I can't explain it, but they have ring presence. They just got an extra look. That calf happens to have it, and to me, he's trim and he's underlined. When I looked at them too, I kind of switched them too. He doesn't carry that flank, so to me, we got to get more belly on him, and we got to get some more condition. But that in there, man, that thing's cool made and good at the ground, and just one that I like awfully well. Really got a nice steer coming out of 3rd. That 3rd class. He's one that's neat in his front end. He's got some middle. Like I said, we talked about. He's okay on his feet and legs. I mean, he's not doing anything bad. He just make sure we don't do anything to steepen him, whether it's management or foot care or whatever. I'm just saying he can roll in his top a little bit. You might want to time, but he's got some middle to him, and he's so neat up out of his front end. Like I said, just got that show ring look. We come out of that class, next class, and that steer there, he gets a little bit bullheaded on us out here, but you get him stopped and you get him set. I mean, that dude's like that calf's like blacker than anything out here. I mean, he is just like beautiful haired. I mean, that hair is like, I just want to clip him when I look at him, all right? I mean, I was telling you, like, that thing just like, I just love his hair. I mean, that thing, and I mean, but he's got something underneath there. I mean, there's some leg to him. You know, he's got enough thickness, but he's good in his middle. He's showy, and I mean, he's just a good calf. I mean, like I said, I'd never get tired of going out there and working on that calf. You know, we come out of that next class. I just saying, you know, there again, that steer was. At times you'll catch him. You know, maybe a little bit, you know, upstanding in his kind, but that calf, and I'm gonna say on his walk is okay. Like I said, don't want him any steeper. But I mean, but that dude right there has got some length to him. He ties in good over his top line. His tail sets good in. He's got some length there that I see that steer going and, you know, and making a 1,400 pound steer. But his hip and his pin bones set up super high, super level. You know, he's one that's stout, you know what I mean, but he's got a cool look up out of his front end. You know, that's a good steer. To me, he's definitely, you know, in contention there as well. So we come behind there, and I'm just saying that steer there has got a lot of pieces that I like. And I mean, I could see that steer coming and hunting someday. You know, he's got a good look up out of his front end. You'll see him a little bit more bolder in his shoulder, and he's kind of opens up a little bit more, gets a little bit more tighter in his forerib, but he's got some belly, but he's got some bone. He's good as far as on his feet and legs. He's got some shape. I mean, that calf just needs more time, you know, more condition, needs to tie in better. The young lady does a phenomenal job of showing. So, I mean, you know, I'm going to go out here and pick them and as I see them today. And you know what? I hope you come and tell me that these things won a state fair or county fair or whatever down the road. You know what? When you do that, I'm going to say I am so proud of you and good for you. So to me, because you are off to a great start. And like I said, I commend, I can't say it enough. But you know what? I love coming to the NILE show. It's something that's very unique. I mean, I love the people up here. The weather has been, now I couldn't have said that last week. I guarantee you, your weather was on our weather, all right? I'm just telling you what, I'm just not joking. In Oklahoma, we were talking about Montana. But anyway, and I'm like, of all idiots, I'm going there next week, right? But anyway, you know what? The weather's been beautiful. The people here are incredible. The people that run the show are incredible. The staff, I'm just telling you. But I'm talking about just stock show people here. I'm just saying, I'm going to Kansas City, and this place is very unique. It's something special. I think we have to do our part to keep it going. So I don't know if it's breeders, support systems, whatever. I mean, this is a very unique show. And you go look at them old photos out there on that column out there. You know what? And a lot of people have been coming here for a lot of years. And so I'm saying it's very, very important that we keep it going. I'm going to quit talking. Like I said, I appreciate being able to be involved with it. I appreciate you people being in this industry. And like I said, we're all blessed to get to do what we get to do. So with that being said, like I said, thank you, the NILE. Thank you for the incredible opportunity, Jay. I know you've got things on the burner coming. You know what? I'm excited for you young people on the maturity and the money that you get in here. I mean, you know what? There's not very many places that do that. So I'm just telling you, it's pretty cool. So anyway, like I said, thank your mom and dad and everybody that, like I said, safe travels home. Like I said, go home, go to work. All right? So congratulations. Let's give our exhibitors and, like I said, the NILE one big round of applause. Thank you.
All right, that concludes our show today. Your grand champion feeder calf goes to Jonna McCullough from Geraldine, Montana. Reserve champion to Chael Roberts of Zorky, Montana. Third place is Helena Fowler from Lewistown, Montana. Fourth place goes to Brighton Lane, Huntley, Montana. And in fifth place, Justin Jones, Miles City, Montana. Thank you all for coming. Have a great day.